Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 worst video game remakes ever. For this list, we're taking a look at video game remakes that utterly failed in capturing the spirit and design of their original works. Do note that we're focusing on remakes, meaning games that were built from scratch, so remasters, or games that are ported with upscaled graphics, do not count. Which remake do you consider to be the worst? Let us know in the comments. Number 10. GoldenEye 007. When looking at it through the lens of a standard video game, the 2010 remake of GoldenEye 007 is a decent FPS. It handles nicely, the gunplay feels good, and the multiplayer is incredibly fun. But as a remake of the legendary N64 classic, it flounders with reckless abandon. Much of the level design and set pieces turn the game into a Call of Duty clone, but the biggest crime was rewriting Trevelyan's backstory. Instead of wanting to exact revenge on the UK for playing a part in his parents' death, Trevelyan is just robbing the UK government because the economy is dumb and stupid and he hates it. And that goes without saying how botched the Xbox 360 and PS3 ports were when GoldenEye Reloaded launched there. Number 9. Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled. At launch, this remake of the PS1 classic received an overwhelming amount of praise for its visuals, controls, and faithfulness to the original game. But Activision did one thing that slapped every reviewer in the face. Just as they did with Call of Duty Black Ops 4, they shoved microtransactions into the game after the reviews were out. To make things worse, Activision had developer Beenox adjust the game's economy to make unlocking stuff even more of a grind than it did during the review process. On top of that, the stability of the game's servers was unpredictable from launch until the end of support, killing off most of the potential interest people could have had in Nitro Fueled's post-launch content. Number 8. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Turtles in Time Reshelled. Reshelled is a strange one because on the surface, everything should have made the game better. The 3D graphics, the voice cast of the 2003 TMNT cartoon, the detailed environments to fully realize the original Turtles in Time. So, how did it fall apart? Well, the 3D visuals made the game look pretty, yes, but it somehow removed the personality of the original. The online multiplayer was cumbersome and it didn't allow for players to drop in and out like the arcade original did. Turtles in Time deserved the pizza party of a lifetime. It got one here, albeit a lukewarm temperature and with no toppings. Number 7. Diddy Kong Racing DS. Yet another piece of the N64's legacy ransacked by the need for pointless redesigns. Diddy Kong Racing DS was fine when it came to retaining core gameplay, but the new stuff that was integrated falters drastically. Obtaining star boosts required players to constantly flick or spin the stylus unless you were driving a hovercraft, in which case you had to blow into the microphone. Users commonly complained of wrist pain and lightheadedness from these mechanics. As for the custom track editor, well, it was severely underwhelming given how little customization there actually was. When you're causing users physical pain though, your game is doing a major disservice to everyone. Number 6. Pokémon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. Regardless of how you feel about the state of modern Pokémon games, most of us can agree that the remake for the Diamond and Pearl DS games underperformed. As with most Pokémon games from the last decade, Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl were comically easy to beat due to the forced inclusion of experience share. As a result, the player is often overleveled and battles feel more like an inconvenience rather than another challenge in becoming a Pokémon master. Caves, on the other hand, are no longer a relaxing time mining for gems and now have random rooms crawling with pocket monsters. And do we even dare go into the many glitches people have unearthed since launch? Number 5. Secret of Mana.
I don't think I would have made it here without you two.
Secret of Mana suffered a similar problem as Turtles in Time in that the transition from 2D to 3D graphics made the game very pretty while detracting any and all personality the original carried. And yet, that wasn't even the biggest blunder. No, the worst offender was the change in its soundtrack. With so many of the tracks being arranged differently than the original, some of the key moments in Secrets of Mana's story have lost their weight and meaning. Considering how much they were charging for something that strayed so far from the source material, this really wasn't worth the money, let alone the time. Number 4. Luigi's Mansion.
Hello?
Hindsight is 2020, and in the case of the 3DS remake of Luigi's Mansion, Nintendo really botched a game that was once brilliant. Luigi's Mansion for the 3DS manages to provide more visual detail and retrofit the original game with modern art style, but what really hampers the experience are the controls. Players were forced to use the 3DS's awkward gyroscope to control which direction Luigi was facing. The only way to circumvent this was to buy a Circle Pad Pro or play on the larger new Nintendo 3DS. No one should have to spend more money just to make a game playable for them. Number 3. Ape Escape on the loose.
So, Spike, has the professor finished creating his time machine yet?
Speaking of handheld games butchering console classics, Ape Escape on the loose was a total embarrassment. See, Ape Escape is meant to be played with 2 analog sticks, one to control Spike's movement and a second to control the direction he faces. This is to make it easy for players to use tools to capture monkeys as chases get more hectic. So, why remake a game for a system that is missing one of the 2 sticks that make the game playable? If the goal was to make Ape Escape more frustrating to play, well, mission accomplished, we suppose. Number 2. Warcraft III Reforged. Yeah, remember this train wreck? Warcraft III Reforged was the start of a very dark age for Blizzard Entertainment. First off, many features like the inclusion of new cutscenes were absent at launch. On top of that, Reforged was marred by various technical problems and enforced an end-user license agreement that claimed any and all mods made by players would be owned by Blizzard themselves. Players were so ticked off that Reforged was review-bombed at launch, eventually nabbing it the lowest user-rated score on Metacritic. That is, until 2022's Diablo Immortal. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure to go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. 13. What the hell happened here? 13 was to be a revival of the 2003 FPS hit that was known for its unique cel-shaded visuals and captivating story of conspiracy and espionage. The 2020 remake fumbled the ball in such an embarrassing way though. The game was plagued with a variety of technical problems, from frame dips to buggy AI. Of course, the biggest issue was the drastic change in art style that made the game look about as generic as many other failed FPS games. And get this, former staff of developer PlayMagic blamed the remake's creative director, Giuseppe Crigliano, as the reason for the game's many problems, citing toxic work environments, poor management, and negligence of paying staff on time. Calling this a disaster would be an understatement. Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.